Hello everybody, so I thought, I am late in giving you this video about labans. So this topic will be about species diversity and let's try to dive in. Dili kayo palamig dulay. So question, who or what is the most important inhabitant of the earth? In your own idea, who is more important? The birds, the flowers, the turtles, you, the rats, the animals. So write down the comments and then please let me know why. Okay, I asked that because we all are here, living things. And so this question of importance always keeps on rising because there are many situations where people really say, oh, the human is the most important, but then they have to protect this and that. So, isa jud ay ang mas important. And why do we have to say it's important? Because we have to, this is an awareness nga we are all given life, and that's why ato ko yung i-weigh how important and if you think you are important and what's your role. Okay, I asked that question because this is related to species diversity. There's a reason and there's an importance why nindot ang magdaghan ta, maglahi-lahi. Dili kailangan isa ra jud ang dominate. Okay? So we are here now because this is how good it should be. Bitaw. And some species may have been gone kay basin ilahang evolution kay wala naka-keep up. So in the current setting now, you can think of all the animals, all the plants, microorganisms, we're all here as living things, working with the environment, the non-living environment, the conditions we have, we're all here. So in species diversity's lesson, we will focus on defining the meaning of species diversity and the terms such as species richness, because in some books the species are sometimes in some videos the species are sometimes read as species, so species lang ako Okay, we have terms like species richness, species evenness, dominance, and the whole concept of unsa giday ng species. So mauni ang mga main concerns. Let's try to answer some questions. Just a heads up lang siguro if nakakuha ba mo while reading the module, and if not, then let's continue. What is called a distinct group of organisms of the same kind? What do you think is the answer? I'm not gonna reveal the answers though. Next question. So just pause the video. Sige, which of the following best describes biodiversity? Is it endangered species, variety of all life on Earth, different kinds of plants, number of the same species in a given area? Is it So the previous one was group of organisms of the same kind, community, genes, population, species. This one is describing biodiversity. And also, which of the following is an example of species diversity? So later na yung malain-lain classes of species diversity. So, try to answer, pause the video. Sige. The keyword for this topic, duha day ka keywords. We have species diversity, species and diversity. So the word diversity, we have talked about this in the previous topic on meiosis, wherein there is an importance of that element of diversity. Okay, the word diversity is used in many contexts, in many situations. So what could this mean? Mura siya o paglahi-lahi, variation, expansion of differences, something like that. So try to guess which one. 1, 2, 3, 4 describes biodiversity. Is it the number of species in a region? Is it the type of alleles found in the gene pool? The number of individuals found in an ecosystem? The number of individuals in a population? Sa manang biodiversity. For example, this one. Species, Carnesia. So the meaning for biodiversity is this one. This describes daw the number of species in a region. Pila kabuk manok, pila kabuk langgam, pila kabuk halas, pila kabuk baki, pila kabuk tao. And then this would describe na dayon how diverse a certain place is, or by plant diha or puros na animals and so on. The number of species in a region. Biodiversity is the total number of species in a region. And beside the number of species, the number within each species is important. Pila ka species, daghang klase ng species, katong mga scientific names. Katong, example, humans, animals, plants, nga species, and under pagyud pila kabuk humans, pila kabuk plants, pila kabuk animals, pila kabuk kalamunggay, pila kabuk kamansi, pila kabuk corn, pila kabuk rats, ants. So if one population grows in size and dominates an ecosystem, the ecosystem can lose the biodiversity because possible daw na dominate. So one population, the word population means number sa usa ka klase nga species. So mo tang answer ganina sa first question. Similar species, similar kind. So if we think of biodiversity, kunit siya pagka-diverse, pagka-lahi-lahi sa mga living things we have. Like in this picture, this one is an artist's depiction though. Okay. So, pwede po kanin siya. Example, have you tried snorkeling? Well, I've tried and it's very life-changing. That's why I kept coming back sa dagat. Sige, so kani siya nga picture kay naani siya ay daghang species sa kaning red baro na isda, daghang number sa kaning red na isda, kaning yellow na isda, kaning dark ang color nga isda, na napudyo ning mga algae diha sa nagtapot diri sa kabatuan, sa mga corals and so on. So very very diverse plants and animals. So lahi napagid ay mga microorganisms. So that is describing biodiversity. If dili na kayo diverse ang usa ka place, it would mean it's dangerous because we need one another. Naman daw na yung mga function kaning isda na function, kaning coral na function. So kung isa ra gay na or gamay ra kayo klase-klase, diha na daw maalarma ang usa ka ecosystem kay they need a community of different things. Sige. So, by the way, sabak dito sa school kay nag-seminar. So, biodiversity comes from biological diversity. How varied living things are in a certain area. Let me use the highlighter. How varied living things are. Now, about your plants, animals, fungi, microorganisms, and the community that they form, and the habitat they're living in. Appeal ang living o non-living and the environmental conditions. Organism is part of the biodiversity. Their produce are source of food, medicine, clothing, shelter, and energy. They also play an important role in sustaining balance in the ecosystem. Itong mga living organisms. A group of organisms makes a population with the basic unit known as species. So, grupo sa pareha-parehang species ay tinatawag na population. The smallest one is, the basic unit is species. Katong usa jud ka klase. Example, usually na ay scientific name. Kita, humans, Homo sapiens, dogs. Kalimutan ko sa dogs that for kalamunggay, moringa olivera. Sorry, nakalimutan ko sa to. What? I can only remember the constellation. Never mind. Sige, so basta specific na unit mo ng species. Nagdagan kayo ng same species population. Particular kind of species of living things is typically recognizable. Usually, makaila jud kag tao, kani siya maligas ni siya. Kani siya kayunggoy ni siya. Sige, so being distinctly different from one another. In different areas of the world, lahi pod ang amounts of biodiversity. Looking at this map, mga vascular plants daw ni, diversity of vascular plants, and the darker the color would be, it would mean grabe daw ka diverse. So, like here, this is South America, diri dapit naman drinking mo da Amazon. Then sa Philippines na area po, so if you can notice, diri dapit sa center no kay na ay parts nga very diverse the ilang plants. That could mean maybe maayo pagka very ang iyang conditions possibly because of the sunlight, the presence of rain, and so on. So the diverse daw kayo labi na sa equator na part. And, I might send you this video link. Dili na to i-play dere. Also, it's possible to estimate unsa pa daw ang wala na discover. So, for a fact daw, kay insects, grabe daw ng mga insects, kay mga insekto. Gamay ra pa daw ang na-discover, pero big percentage daw ano niya kay wala pa daw na-discover. So, estimates, this can be, there's a method daw to know, and they use a lot of samples. If you like to study biology or a related branch on this, puhon na at lingaw po ni siya kay magtanaw mo sa mga species na available, inyong i-count, ang mga samples inyong tanawon, hindi na siya study po. So biodiversity can be defined as broader term, the big term that circumvents all types of biological forms that exist on a planet. The whole thing of biodiversity na siya. There is three main types of diversity. We have genetic diversity, focus aning tulo. Main topic na ni. So genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecosystem diversity. For genetic diversity, it's let's have the first one lang sa species diversity. This describes the total number of different species. Different species is form a part of the community. Na species ba sa kalamungay, sa maligas, sa saging, sa bacteria, and so on. Lain-laing bang species ang naadiya. Genetic diversity. The total number of different genotypes, genetic variation existing in the population of a community. For example, if we're talking about dogs, never like klaseng nga dogs diri. Under pagid sa species. So, we have lain-laing klase sa dogs. So, you can think of that. Ecosystem diversity. Lain-lain po na mga places or habitat or geographical locations. Or, ecosystems. Okay, for this one, let's try. You have Beagle, Shih Tzu, German Shepherd, Doberman. These are all types of mga dogs. Is it species diversity, genetic diversity, ecosystem diversity? So yes, under sa dogs nila yung klase, so genetic diversity, genotypic variation, or genome variation, genetic variation. Same species, different variety of genes. So under niya nga species, napagi specific na genes. So we have lain-lain nga version. So just easy rin siya i-recognize. Next. Provide kayo mo rin. Here, lakes, rivers, and ponds. So these are physical environment. Ecosystem, yes, ecosystems. So these are different kinds of freshwater ecosystems. Different kinds of places where organisms live and the interconnections that bind these organisms together. Yes. Mga habitat, hindi siya ecosystem, ecosystem diversity. My slides seem to load at this point. Every time I share, abot ako aning part. Wait lang, I don't mind. So yun rin na topic, guys. Masa ito? Genetic diversity, species diversity, ecosystem diversity. Kung genetic diversity, under sa laylaing species. Ecosystem, mga habitat or ecosystems. Let's go with this. Dragonflies, sunflowers, dogs. So main nga groups na ay tanom, na ay animal, na ay insect na karon, mamalinsa. So, is it? Yes, species diversity, mga species, laylaing species. Nagsagol na, plants, animals, microorganisms, humans, karon. It deals with different kinds of organisms. Ano yung bigger description, species diversity. Deals with different kinds of organisms. Is it? Sige. Maload na kita kung PowerPoint. Okay, let's wait. Okay, so species diversity talks about difference within species or similar species. It pertains to the number of species and abundance of every species in a given community. So, lahi-lahi na siya nga klase. So, there are also words to describe species diversity. Because a while ago, we talked about how species could say lahi-lahi na klase sa plants, animals, or microorganisms. We can also say there is a high species diversity, low species diversity, and also the term equitable or species equitability. So, if you can notice the picture kaniha sa vascular plants, high diversity gyud daw sa equator na part. This is because ang abundance sa sunlight o ang pag-maintain sa rain. And with that, daghang species of plants and animals ang ni-evolve. So, high diversity. Also from the poles daw, high sa center, dahil magka-low sa ibabaw sa poles o low sa poles. So, high diversity, low diversity. So, how do scientists estimate how many species have not yet been discovered? They base this number on sampling methods and determine the species richness. So, ilang i-try o estimate using sampling methods. For example, kani siya. Ilang ma-estimate man na. Daghan lagi din na pila diri gamay, possible na para pareha rata kung depende sa lugar. So, possible nga daghan pa wala discover. So, again, species richness would describe the number of species in a given area. Species richness. The same species within the same trophic level. Okay, so look at this picture na po. Another term ang species equitability. All about how equal ang pag-distribute sa mga species. Looking at these two sides, asa diri ang equally diverse, which is more equitable. So we can say ang kani nga picture diri sa let's say this is A, kani kay B, sa A na side, you have two ka-turtles. Turtle, duha food, snakes duha, frogs duha, and another snake na po duha, so lizard. But on the other side, daghan ang iyahang baki. So maybe, so it's possible na dominate ang frog. Kanya na ay some species na wala i-grow. Na siya. So it is not equal or equitable. So among the two, picture A is more equitable. So it describes the evenness of the distribution of individuals. High species diversity is found in tropical rainforests and coral reefs. Yes. Kay it's a good place for different species to thrive as well as differentiate. So now let's go to species concept. How we describe yung sa pag-determine nga kana sila mauna siya ang usa ka species kana siya kay nabilong na sila. Okay, so there are three main concepts how they categorize species. Three main big ideas yun sa pag-determine nga kana sila belonging to the same species. We have the terms typological, biological, and phylogenetic species concept. So for typological species concept, it defines species as a group whose members share certain characteristics that distinguish them from other species. So atong keyword ani kay na ang mga members daw of the same species kay naa sila certain characteristics ang makaingon gyud nga lahi. For example, humans. Lahi ang features sa humans sa birds, sa dogs. So maklaro jud nimo lahi siya or dogs versus cats. Lahi jud naa sila certain characteristics. Whales versus turtles. So lahi jud nimo mga labi na physical characteristics. Next is biological species concept. This is about paghimo daw of offspring. The rule for biological species concept is they consider to belong in the same species if they're capable to interbreed. Muna yung rule. Under biological species concept, consider species as a distinguished group of population whose members are capable of interbreeding successfully and are reproductively isolated from other groups to produce fertile offspring. So for example, ay katong na ay nag-breed og lion and tiger, they were able to breed lion and tiger called liger, pero katuyang offspring kay dili siya maka-produce og more na liger. So dili diay sila maka-reproductively isolate and extend that species. If daw dili sila capable to produce a fertile offspring, kay dili daw sila belong to the same species. So the first concept was similar characteristics, typological. Second concept is if they can produce a fertile offspring. For example, humans interbreed, cats between cats interbreed, dogs inana siya. So if they say producing fertile offspring. The third concept of mga pictures kani siya. Kani birds. We have birds that look the same physically, pero dili daw sila maka-interbreed. So dili gihapon sila belong sa the same species. But as for humans, under ako sa Homo sapiens pwede ra pud. So inana siyang concept, not just the physical characteristic. It has something to do with genes, especially the number of chromosomes. So this one was what I talked about. Katong na ay nag-crossbreed of lion and female tiger. This was in Korea, matulog. So they were able to produce one, but it is not reproductively isolated. Meaning, nabuhi ni siya pero dili siya makamake og giha pa jud na further offspring. Hybrid, but incapable of developing to become a fertile adult. It cannot produce more ligers. So ina siya. Ma-crossbreed pero dili. So again, if it cannot produce the fertile offspring, dili sila ka species. Last concept is phylogenetic concept. This is about ancestry. Somehow po daw, we can talk about species belonging to the same ancestral tree. So define species as a group of organisms which share unique genetic history. It's possible that some birds have originated to one nga nabagi sinugdanan tapos ni branch to different kinds of birds. So it uses this concept to classify species by looking at a group whose members come from a common ancestors and have a shared unique evolutionary history. Something about evolution. So it's possible that katong sila nga trace ang ancestry between humans, between chimpanzee nga group. So, nadiri po na siya na align. Basta ang keyword aning phylogenetic ka iyang family tree or iyang ancestry, such as this one. It's possible that two kinds of frogs could belong to one ancestor. Okay, same sila characteristic. Kani siya. And maybe at some point ni variate lang siya or kani nga term, speciation. Maybe they were isolated in different ecosystems, and the other one has to evolve into different physical characteristics, or nidako ang size sa usa gamay. So inana lang. Branch out into different species determines speciation. So they have common ancestors, similar daw sila horn and length in tympanic membrane. However, different daw sila colors and habitat isolation, which allows speciation, forming different species and different habitats. Pero kaliwat daw sila. So again, three main concepts we have to describe a species. We could use typological concept, biological, and phylogenetic species concept. Okay, last main topic is to describe diversity. So kung kaniya na atay high species diversity, low, further discuss pa yun na ito dere. Let's compare these pictures. So, kaning usa, this could describe, ato sang i-observe. Kani siya daghang kahoy, laylay drawing. Kani siya, dili kayo daghang kahoy, pero if we count, I think, same lag number. 5 ka dark. 5 ang number. So, something, ang kani first picture, laylay is like number. Okay, the first picture will describe the word species richness, the simplest form of describing species diversity, relating to the number of species inhabiting a given area. Meaning, naa siya species ani, kani, like ako siya drawing, kani, which, ano pa? Kani, laylay klase. Kaning second picture, talking about evenness. Kani siya 5-5. So the evenness would describe how many individual organisms belong under each species and refers to the similarity in numbers or equal abundance of species in a particular area. So nana na to, mura to yung keywords. Species richness and species evenness. Okay, so try to answer sa katong activity 1 na naa sa worksheet, online worksheet, and then ito po nga multiple choice. Oras to sila.